This is my first iteration on Avenue, a breakout map. As you can see, all I've really got laid out are a couple walls and some of the additional lanes, but I knew what I wanted. So moving on to the second iteration, you can see that I've added in the lanes. You'll recognize lane B from the final version. You've got the height on the right, and what's something you don't see is this fourth lane over here on the left. Originally I had this dynamic planned out with the man cannons here, and these were significantly higher. I really wanted to bring in verticality. Playtesting showed me that this was a really bad idea, but I tried it with it anyway. As you can see, this is the very high lane, trying to give that lane-to-lane gameplay, but it didn't really work out too well. So here's the first playtestable version. You can see I numbered the lanes. I really wanted to drive home the design goal, which was get players off spawn into different areas. You've got the man cannons on both sides. You can, I don't know why I had a stronghold in there. You can see that this lane had a Hydra to go for. You could either hold back and shoot or try to melee in the air. Jump straight over to lane B and an opening in back there. You can see lane C actually has remained relatively the same, but what is now the house used to be this awkward chunk of blocks. This was some of the strongest feedback I got, which is that this side of the map was just absolutely terrible. So, and this is very short. I didn't want players using elevation as cover, and it was a good idea in theory, except it ended up being very, very poor in execution. It was just a bad experience. So I took it back to the drawing board and restarted, and this is my second playtest gameplay right here. You can see that I've now brought it down to 3 lanes, A, B, and C, and instead of the Hydra lane, I just had a flank here to get to the scatter shot. And I actually had a scatter shot for both teams. The flag was here in the center. You can see it goes back and flanks actually behind B. And well, this was somewhat better. The scatter shots were too zany to have, and on top of that, it just made the map too large. So moving over to the Hydra got moved to inside the house, not a DMR. And the flag, I didn't really know what to do with that area because the flag was still right there. And I did add in these little cut-throughs. You could clamor, which was a big change over the verticality. And the other thing I added was these little cut-throughs, which brought in some of the cross-lane gameplay I was looking for. And what I was highlighting there is that those murder holes there were blocked off so you could shoot from. They ended up not being very powerful and got cut from the final version, but they were there. So my third playtest, you can see the aesthetics is getting a lot closer. What is the color scheme is there. You can, well, we'll get to lane C in a second. So I closed off the extra scatter shots for lane B, turned it into this own little room, which is very similar to the final version. You can see the murder holes were still in this iteration, but a bolt shot was added. Scatter shots there, and just moving through. Lane B looks the same, but once again, that side flanking route was gone. And lane C saw the biggest change here, moving into the, well, it's still the house, but it's a lot brighter now, and the DMR is there. And these pits in lane C has been the same, and you can see I started to add in an industrial aesthetic. So finally moving on to the beta, there wasn't much change to do in gameplay. I was pretty satisfied, but I got Randy355, who made High Rise, to help me out with these aesthetics. You put these amazing gears in right here. You can see the light shining off them. They're really lined up if you look closely. And the one other change that I added was that I cut out these murder holes and turned them into pathways, which help improve flow in some of the complex sightlines in the center. And other than that, just really, really pretty now. So that's Avenue.